Hello, beautiful people. Hello. Welcome back to the channel, my lovely jammers. And today I have the brilliant Jennifer with me.
Hello.
Hello. How have you been?
I've been great. How about you?
Absolutely wonderful. I had to cancel the show on Tuesday, guys. I'm really sorry. We had conflicting schedules, but definitely we will be going live next Wednesday with P Diner, or Tuesday, sorry, with P Diner at 10 p.m. So I do apologise. These things happen, especially when you have such a big time difference. It can just get a bit chaotic, can't it? And we just made the boo-boo in an hour with an hour time.
Yeah, because I'm Germany, so I'm 1 hour ahead of you. It was so funny. I'm such a nerd. I was literally in front of the computer. I'm like, and then I checked your text, and I was like, oh crap.
See, we get it wrong so often. I think it's just the craziness of the day, and then just remembering everybody's schedules, because we've got so many different podcasters from all around the world. I feel like I need an internal clock that just tells me the times. Yeah, I know.
Whenever I go live with Paula, she's East Coast. She's Toronto, so she's 5 hours behind me. But then I think when the clock shifts, she'll be 4. Everything's so off. It's weird.
I know. We get it wrong. This is this is life.
Yeah.
What have you been up to recently? Because I've seen a couple of your videos. If you want to just plug your videos quickly before we get into it.
So I'm doing a brand new book read on the channel. I'm reading the unauthorized biography of Priscilla Presley called Child Bride by Suzanne Finstad. It's a book written in 1997, and the whole book, and she interviewed over 300 people for this book. And the book, in a nutshell, directly counters the narrative that Priscilla has thrown out into the public domain for almost 5 decades now. And one of the things, for example, she always maintained was that she wasn't innocent when she met him. She was innocent till their wedding night. She says she was never an Elvis fan. She said her parents didn't want her to date him or associate with him. And Suzanne in that book basically punches holes in all of it. And she's this woman goes back. She's interviewing 1st and 2nd grade elementary school teachers, for goodness sake. She goes back a long way. And so I just edited episode 5 for chapter 5, and that's going to be uploaded tomorrow. But we're starting to get into her narrative about how she was never a fan. But in talking to her middle school and elementary school friends, they all say, actually, no, she was a devoted Elvis fan. In fact, she would fantasize and talk to her one girlfriend about she was going to marry him. And it's a lot of stuff.
Sounds like somebody we know. Sounds like
it's really funny that you mentioned that, because Meghan and Priscilla really seem to have similar facets of their personality. The most important being they want a very, very tight control on their narratives, and they will not, and they're both very litigious as well.
Well, they do sound very similar indeed. And I like that you've got such a keen interest in that kind of era as well.
Well, I've been a lifelong Elvis fan my entire life. I've been to Graceland twice.
Oh, wow.
And I read that book back in 2013, right after my twins were born. You do a lot of reading when you're, new mom and you're doing different things. You're kind of, so I was just fascinated by everything that I thought I knew about who she was, because I read her book Elvis and Me when I was in high school and thought, well, that, you know, this is Priscilla, but Priscilla tells a very different story to what we read in Child Bride. Let's put it that way.
How interesting. I like the deep dive into it. It is
It is.
fascinating. I
It's a good
always
one.
find it a little bit uncomfortable though that Elvis, you know, married a 14-year-old. I know it was kind of a different era, but it kind of
She was 21 when they got married, but
oh,
14
when they
when they
got
met.
together.
Yes.
Okay.
You're probably confusing him with Jerry Lee Lewis.
Ah,
He
okay.
married his 13-year-old cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is, I mean, there isn't really what one rule for one and one rule for the other. It does borderline the DF kind of route, but yeah, that's always what's disturbing, isn't it? You can really like the music but not necessarily like the person. So, and that's hard. It's quite conflicting for me because I did like Elvis until I kind of got very much into the what he was up to in the beginning, and that for me sits a bit uncomfortably.
We're going to get a little bit more into that narrative as the book goes on. But for example, there are tons of conflicting narratives out there. For example, he's got a cousin that's got her own YouTube channel called, her name's Donna Presley. And she's actually countered and addressed exactly what you're talking about from her family's point of view and stuff. So it's all very, very interesting.
Well, I will have to watch the video and have to get myself reacquainted with the history of that, because I'm probably a little bit out of sorts with all the information.
Well, I mean, with all these news stories, hello.
This is the problem, and this is what we've got again, more conflicting information coming out about Harry and Meghan. It's very hard to kind of know the truth from, you know, from fantasy, you know, and what's kinds of salacious stories are out there and what is actually real. However, I do have some info before we get into Harry and Meghan and the disaster of Australia. I wanted to talk about, you know, the following on from Andrew Mountbatten's arrest. And there's been kind of discussions about the removal of the daughters' roles within the monarchy. And apparently Prince William is calling the shots when it comes to Princess Beatrice and Eugenie, and the Prince of Wales is poised to take a hardline approach to their royal futures. So although he's had a close relationship with his cousins prior to this before, sources are now claiming that the heir has strategically distanced himself from certain family members, which include banning Beatrice and Eugenie from attending Royal Ascot this year. So he is trying to distance himself completely from the Yorks, which is interesting. What do you make of it, Jennifer?
I think it's smart. And I don't know how long ago William asked his cousins. Didn't he ask them to basically have their finances, have their dealings combed through? And
I think so, yeah.
And they said no. They said no. So I think that when that happened, but I had not heard what you just mentioned about him taking the reins where the cousins are concerned. Is that something that just came out in the last couple of days, or?
Yes, it's actually come out today. You have to kind of dig hard to find that information, but whether it's true or not, again, it's speculation. I do think he's probably very cautious because he knows that the reputation of the monarchy is really on the line. And I think that there is a big call for them all to step away, considering the involvement within the Epstein files and their very close-knit relationship with Epstein and Maxwell. So it wouldn't surprise me. Prince William has a very sensible head on his shoulders by the looks of things. He's quite strategic. He seems quite calm and collected. I think he wants to move the monarchy in kind of a zero tolerance kind of direction where everything is
Absolutely.
transparent, you know.
Right.
But apparently this is where it gets a little bit interesting.
Mhm.
So apparently there is information regarding the sisters, and William is, if Prince William continues to withdraw their privileges, the
Mhm.
sisters have stated that they will not be afraid to push back hard. But this could entail a few different things. Okay, so this could
Mhm.
include a tell-all interview and media involvement, something which William would be very keen to avoid, particularly in the wake of Prince Harry's interviews. We know after his royal departure, we've had his problems.
Mhm.
I think they really don't know how to manage Beatrice and Eugenie because it's very difficult in this situation. It isn't them that's done anything directly, however, it's
Yeah.
kind of guilty by association, so to speak, isn't it?
Well,
So yeah, go on. Sorry.
I hadn't heard that. And when you said that, I had a visceral reaction to that. Andrew Lowney has hinted, well, he hasn't hinted, he's stated that when his updates happen for Entitled, there's more information coming out. And in every interview that I've seen him give, he always says that those girls know more and knew more than they're letting on, that their hands are not as clean as they've been portraying for the last several years. So if that's indeed true, and I do think it is, because I do think Andrew Lowney doesn't play around. He's like Tom Bauer in the sense that everything is vetted, everything is thoroughly researched. The man isn't going to make careless mistakes. Am I right? So if that's indeed the case, and the public really back this idea of removing Sarah, and now it seems like they're headed that way, the tide for the girls. If they want to be vicious like that and do that, they're not going to do themselves any favors. Absolutely. I mean, if they think the public turned on their father and their mother, wait till they try to pull something nasty like that.
It's in their blood, unfortunately. We've
Mhm.
learned a lot about Randy Andy's character. That's what I like to
Right.
call him because he doesn't deserve a title or a normal
Mhm.
name. And also Ferguson's been, one of the worst for a tell-all. She has the most loose lips in all of royal history.
Do you think she's going to do it?
I think if their backs are pushed up the wall and they haven't got the privileges that they have and they completely take them away, I think so, because where's your money coming from? All you can capitalize off is the royals because it sells, and this is what this is where we're sitting on like a seesaw moment, because you've got
Right.
Meghan and Harry are still kind of, I think they've kept their mouth shut for longer because they've got the titles. I do think if the titles were removed, it would get quite nasty. And I feel like the girls probably would do the same.
But I think that they would become pariahs of sort. Yes, there's always going to be an appetite for the salacious. But there were all these media reports just this last month saying that she was in New York, Sarah, was in New York trying to shop around different publishers. And apparently, according to these sources in these articles, doors were being slammed in her face. No one has an appetite for her right now, especially with her Epstein connections. And I think all those emails that came out with her talking about, oh, I'm in love with you, marry me, this, that, this, that. And I saw an interview, I forget where Andrew was, or where Lowney was, what interview. They asked him, do you think that Sarah was in fact intimate with him? And he said, yes, he thought that she was, that is how deep in with that man she was. And she was desperate with a capital D. She was right. She has no shame, Victoria. She was writing this man saying, my rent or my mortgage or whatever is come due next month. Help me. What do I do? I mean,
And this is the running theme within this society. It feels like girls are kind of monetized and used, really used for their flesh. And it seems to be quite normal within this society to do that. We've seen the Yacht Girl saga. We're starting to get a little bit more of an idea of how Soho House works, how the yachting works, what really happens with girls. And it does feel like Fergie was some sort of madam to her daughters, with the kind of if you can sort of read between the lines on the files, it's very odd that she keeps saying where the girls are to Epstein all the time. You know, what does that age man need to be doing? Was there such an age difference there? Why do they need to keep meeting up with Uncle Epstein?
Right.
It's odd, isn't it?
It is.
But we will see. I mean, I think this is where it's a fine balance of going too far and stripping everything and putting their backs up against the wall, or you have to give them a little bit of grace. But I think time will tell. I think because there's been other news kind of dominating the headlines at the moment, we haven't really heard much more about Andy and his
ongoing investigation.
Yes, and that isn't that good for him. It's all gone quiet for him. But I'm sure it will pop back up once all of this Iran stuff hopefully dies down.
Right.
But yeah, we know it's funny how things can just suddenly disappear and there's something really crazy, something even crazier comes along, right?
The last thing I saw, there were some reports in the media about the girls apparently both experiencing marital difficulties due to all the controversies. And I don't know if it was I think it was Beatrice's husband's family apparently expressing just disgust over the whole situation. And I don't know how true or accurate, excuse me, it's all alleged. But apparently they're not happy with the fact that, did he make a wrong choice in marrying this girl?
I'm sure their attention's running really high with all of them because there is a lot that is on the line. Thank you, Kev, for watching. Hello, hi, and thank you, Honesty and Truth, for the £5. Can't stop. Who is daft enough to buy tickets or products from this woman? The pair are totally ludicrous. Proven truth cheats, both are numpties. I think we're talking about the Australian trip, which I said we would get into.
Numpties, I love that. Is that an Aussie thing? Or is that
numpties? Oh, we use numpties in England. Numpties is like idiots, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I love it. Before? Oh, it's brilliant. I haven't used that word in a while, but I like it. Yeah, both the numpties. Yeah.
I like that. I'm gonna start using it. They're numpties.
Oh, right. Okay. So Australia, what is going on in Australia? I hear, well, I mean, you sent me the article regarding the petition.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the petition because this is shocking, right? Does Australia really hate Harry and Meghan that much?
It would seem so, wouldn't it, darling? And did you notice how in the article they had to immediately clap back to that petition, over 35,000 signatures strong, basically saying we will not pay for their security if they come here. And then they have to fire back, well, basically it's paid for. So that's a moot point, they said in their statement. And they also said, well, we don't understand what this petition is supposed to be about because it's all paid for. Meaning they're paying for it.
So they're paying for themselves, which is great. That's fine. But the amount of people that have signed this petition, again, I've got conflicting information. I've got 35,000 here. Do you have that amount as well, or is it more? It could be growing as we speak on the petition.
It could be growing. This article is a day old that I sent you, the one from News Nation. But also, seriously, Victoria, they said that they're paying for it. Well, yeah, they're very trustworthy, aren't they? I take everything those two say with a grain of salt. And, until they can prove us otherwise and start acting on the up and up, people are going to always eye them with suspicion, and rightly so.
You say a
Oh, there
grain of
you
salt.
go.
I say a bucket of salt by now. I think
Yeah.
we're in bucket territory now. Um, Over 40,000.
Yeah,
That's
that's great.
crazy. I mean, that shows there's such a movement against them in Australia. And I kind of worked that out because I've got a lot of subscribers from Australia and from America, and Canada as well. And you feel that kind of connection there. We all kind of come together as one when we talk about this.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how their reception is not going to be received well at all, considering if you compare it to their first tour in 2018, they were welcomed with open arms. So it's going to be a very different atmosphere for them when they land in sunny Australia.
Well, I was rereading this past week Revenge in anticipation of the new book, which I still cannot get my hands on. I was so ticked off. I went to a bookstore in the city here today that I pre-ordered it, the English version.
Yeah.
And it oh no, sorry, it's not, we have no idea. I'm like, really? But anyway,
it's very difficult. Haven't you got Amazon though? You can ship worldwide.
I do. And I went ahead and ordered it off of Amazon Germany. But, a couple of days ago, I thought, why don't I just go down to a local bookstore here and put in an order? It'll probably be quicker. I won't have to wait for shipping. It's supposed to. I have no idea. But sorry that was a tangent. In Revenge, he details the Australia trip and he talks about it at length. And it seemed to me, reading that chapter about their Australia tour, they were consumed on that trip, absolutely consumed with taking everything that was written about them on social media and digesting it and just mulling over it and yelling and screaming at everybody about, like, you have to stop this. I mean, that's all they cared about the entire time they were in Australia. Apparently, everyone thought that they were having such a good time in the crowds and they were happy and this and that, but apparently behind the scenes, it was awful. They were both in very low spirits and they were both very, very angry, pointing fingers back to the palace saying, this is all your fault. This is all your fault. They were miserable then. Miserable.
I think this is the issue with, being in the spotlight at all, even anyone really, even YouTubers, you're going to get some really bad comments sometimes and not particularly nice comments. I was actually called an extreme Muslim.
Really?
Which is
Okay.
insane. If you stick up for another culture, you're going to get that backlash. I don't know, but I'm not sticking. I'll go into that another time. I'm going to do a live on how different cultures interpret the Muslim religion rather than just branding everybody the same brush. But I think that was quite funny. So I wrote back something along the lines of wisdom is fast, but you are running fast. Wisdom is chasing you, but you are running
fast. I just talked about it on one of my videos. I happened to mention in passing, oh my God, I had the worst, most painful mammogram in my life this morning. And some of these people were coming for me in the comments saying that I was discouraging women from getting them. And I was like, really? Really?
I know mammograms are meant to be really painful, aren't they? It's what I've heard.
Well, some are more painful than others. And I had someone in my comments that I kind of took to task. I didn't display their name, but in my response to it in my next video, I was like, because they were very snarky. Have you ever had a baby? Have you ever had an ankle sprain? And I'm like, actually, yeah. And I'm a stage 3 rectal cancer survivor. And I've had IV chemo needles that hurt less than that damn thing. Yeah.
But well done you, man, through that. That's really good. And having twins, boy, pushing one out is hard. And I was like, give me the drugs.
Well, I had to have an emergency C-section, but
it's still painful and the recovery is still awful as well.
I know. But point being, you can't sometimes you just have to let it roll off your back, because people are going to say something about every
I
little
think
tiny
so, yeah.
nuance of a
Yeah.
thing, you know?
I think the best thing to be if you're in the spotlight or you're doing anything like this is just be as authentic as you can be. And not everybody's going to like you. I understand that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure some people don't like me at all. That's fine. But it's, you know, you find your tribe, don't you? And I do believe that that, you know, they probably need to stop like obsessing over that, because it's not
Right.
helping how they're coming across either. I think the stress and the kind of the self-awareness might
Yeah.
be sort of showing up a bit too much on their demeanor and how they
I
how
think
they
so.
yeah, yeah,
Everything that happens, they have to clap back. They have to clap back. She's compelled. Oh, thank you. She's compelled to clap back. It's constant. And when you think about it, all of us out here with our little channels on YouTube, our comments are open, you know, and I've told my viewers, if you want to take me to task about something that I've said, go right ahead. I welcome it as long as you're reasoned and respectful and not, you know, overtly nasty. I don't, you know, delete comments. I don't ban people. I don't like, you know, it's just odd. It's just very odd
yeah.
how I mean, especially Harry, someone who's been in the public eye his entire life. You would think at a certain point he would just, like William, man up, have the skin get a bit thicker and just say, you know what? This is going to happen. There's going to be critics, and that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, and you're right, and I think constructive criticism is better than completely degrading someone. So I do feel like, you know, if they're open to that, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they care. The problem is I don't think they care about other people's opinions,
Yeah.
and it kind of is starting to show more and more with this kind of odd erratic behavior. Because
Mm-hmm.
moving along, they're doing another documentary about Polo.
Polo.
It's just oh, there is a word I'm looking for, but it's not, we're not in reality here. I know Polo is popular amongst some people, but it is pretty niche.
Yeah.
It's not something that many people practice. I mean, as far as I know,
I
it's
have
kind of considered for the elites, and I think they play it in South America a lot as
3
well.
words for you, my dear. Out of touch.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. Out of touch.
So out of
Um,
touch.
yeah,
Are
yeah.
you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me?
It's like the last, okay, so I have the stats here. So apparently they were only ranked 3,442 out of 7,000. I've only 500,000 views with the last Polo crap that he did.
Wow.
How
Wow.
bloody boring that was. And so
I
they're
think
going to
our
return.
little channels probably have better metrics than that crap. Let's get real here.
Oh, well, I'd like 500,000 views on a video. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Well, cumulative, right? Or we've got more, but
No, yeah, I know what you mean. I think
so sad.
it's interesting that they're talking here about it being produced. I haven't got the people that are producing them. It's not Netflix, surely, because they they have been
Yeah.
dropped. So that I'm a bit confused as to who's going to be helping them get this off the shelf, because they're going to need some sort of help. They're setting it in the town of Florida, or not town of Florida, town of Wellington in Florida, obviously.
Uh-huh.
An equestrian capital of the world, apparently. I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah, the as yet untitled project will follow 2 rival polo teams and their family. Um, so there's a lady called Francesca. She's going to be on the series. I think she's known for working on the television Dynasty or
Mm-hmm.
Dynasty, and will act as an executive producer alongside the Duke and Duchess, according to the reports.
Well, according to their sycophantic publication people, Apparently it's for Netflix, but how can that be? I'm confused.
Well, especially after her kind of giving them a little bit of, I would say, quite a sassy comment when she mentions, "Oh,
Yeah.
Netflix are holding me back."
Mhm.
I mean, you couldn't be less grateful or kind of rude if you tried.
Which was
Netflix,
another clapback.
yeah, yeah,
That was the clapback to their official statement where they were,
yeah,
I thought, very gracious.
they
You
were.
know, we're no longer working together. However, we're grateful, we're blah, blah, blah. Just all the things that you say when you want to remain above board and professional in public. And then that's when she released that statement after that she felt they were holding her
Yeah,
back.
yeah. I mean, it's nonsense. I mean, how could she compare herself to the biggest, the giant streaming network that's,
Hmm.
been so successful? I think everybody, majority of people in the world will have at least had a Netflix account at some point. I love to watch a true crime documentary. I'm all over it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I use it, and I think most people use the streaming service. They've been very successful.
Mm.
I wouldn't say they would be holding anybody back. In fact, they would be an asset to anybody using Netflix because they're going to get you on the spot. They're going to give you
Yeah.
the limelight that you want, or whatever sort of a narrative you want to push out there. So to say that, she really shows how big her ego is.
Arrogance, just plain arrogance. And in that Variety article, they actually outlined the plan that Netflix had for her. And I think it was like a 5 to 6 tiered plan. And it was starting with the show, and then it was eventually going to lead to a cookbook. And I believe products like what she's hawking with as ever was kind of nestled in the middle because what they wanted to do, I mean, I'm not even a brand specialist and I know this. You have to have a know, like, and trust factor with your audience, which she really hadn't. I mean, she built it somewhat when she first married in, got tarnished. So she was eventually starting from scratch. Had she listened to Netflix to allow them to maybe help her craft an image, then she could have moved forward because they were talking about wanting to move her into retail spaces. I believe the first thing they wanted her to do was wine. They had a very strategic plan. It was like a 5 or 6 point plan. She didn't prescribe to it. She didn't want anything to do with it because she knew better. And I'm thinking to myself, if I was fortunate enough, if I was a content creator, lifestyle guru, got Netflix to buy into me, I would be like, great. What
God,
what is your advice here? Tell me what you want to do to help me. Let's figure this out. This is great. But
I would. Yeah.
all she can do is get on a Zoom call and then she hears something she doesn't like and she hightails it out of the room and she uses the excuse that I'm a mom. Are you serious? My kids, I told them, Mama's gonna have a live. Okay, so don't come into the office. And they know. But yes, they're younger. I get it. But what? She doesn't have 5 nannies at her house, or at least 2.
Oh, well, I've got an exclusive video. Thank you for bringing that up about the nannies. I'm going to put out tomorrow.
Ooh,
Exciting.
can't you give us a
I can tell you
teaser, darling?
I can tell you who my guest is now because I've done the video. I've got to edit it, guys, and you know what? I don't know how to bloody edit, so I've got to learn. But guess who it is? Paul Page,
Nice.
Royal Protection Officer. I can tell you now. He's a lovely guy. Really cool video with him.
Mm.
Really, really great. But I've got to basically now work because what happened is in the video, towards the end, he kept dropping the pad. So I could get the dog barking and everything like that. Otherwise, it would have been fine. But I don't. We could leave it in for comedy purposes, maybe. I
But I
don't
have a
know.
question for you.
Yes.
But I have a question for you. I was talking about nannies, and that sparked your memory of
Yeah.
him. What are
Yeah.
you saying that they're using a protection officer as a nanny or something?
Oh no, 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 no! I'm just talking about what materials coming out. That's
Because
all. That's
honestly,
all.
if you were to tell me that, I would be like, yeah, that sounds about right. They're probably like, hey, come over here and watch our kid while we.
I have like the bizarre requests that they ask for regarding how the nanny conducts themselves, which is absolutely absurd. So I'm going to put it out. tomorrow. It'll be a short 10-minute thing, but yeah,
Great.
it's just another thing, another layer of nonsense adding to the mix of what we already know. Really.
Did she ask him to go out and get an ice bucket for her champagne?
I don't know. I haven't seen that bit. An ice bucket for a champagne. Well, apparently they're going to be celebrating this year because there's going to be both fiction and non-fiction projects on the slate. So there's going to be a natural attrition as you work through the stages of development, but Archwell Productions will have programmings across several streaming platforms over the next few years, apparently.
Can't wait.
So they're going to be everywhere we go, they'll be there.
Well, don't you remember he had that idea for a podcast? He was going to drink hot cocoa or hot chocolate, and he was going to talk to people, and he was going to have the Pope and Donald Trump and all these who he considered to be sociopaths, and he was going to interview them and all. Really? Really?
Yeah, I know. It's well, I think the Archwell Productions, I think they're taking on a mammoth project there because they don't really know how the film business works. They really have they've been led through it. I think they pretty much haven't done half of the work.
Well, the only thing they've been able to monetize is their royal status and their grievances. Okay. 6 years have elapsed, Victoria. What content creation ideas, what wonderful ideas do they have floating around in those noggins of theirs? And why hasn't anything materialized in 6 years? We don't have anything. We didn't have anything when they were backed by powerhouses like Spotify and Netflix. Why do they think we buy into that they're going to come out now just totally rebranded with all this fresh content that we're so eager to consume? It's like, are you serious?
I mean, and I think revisiting the Polo again, it's such a bizarre concept anyway, because it is so niche, and unless it's a very popular sport, I don't know how it's going to take off anyway. But also, I just think it's all very random and haphazard. Again, I know the Cookie Queens, they actually got an award, but it's not an award because it's something to do with Harry and Meghan. They just slap their name to it and hope it stuck. And I do wonder if a lot of these projects are kind of the same situation, where they kind of put their name to it, but it doesn't necessarily mean they've done any of the work.
Agreed.
Did you get any more information regarding her meet and greet in Australia?
Well, I have those 2 pictures that I sent you. Those are apparently pictures from inside of the, I don't want to call it a ballroom at the Intercontinental. It's like a meeting room, but apparently it's a lot small. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to play the angle that it's small on purpose. It's an intimate
setting.
Purpose, exactly. And it's these tables that are arranged just so. And then it'll be like a fireside chat, and she'll be there with her microphone. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is anything that happens, anything that goes south, they immediately have to go into overdrive to try to spin it that it's what was planned all along, or this is just such an asset because we're providing these women at this wellness retreat the opportunity to be intimate with the Duchess. You see, we're going to be one-on-one with her. We're going to be just up close and personal. And don't think for a second that every question isn't going to be vetted, that every person surrounding her isn't going to be vetted. They want to make sure that everyone there, if they do have a social media presence, is going to be someone that sings her praises, that will never have said, I don't agree with her, I don't like this, whatever.
No, and you're completely right. And I think there is vetting that's done prior to this anyway. Because we were talking about this before. And they vet them through the email first, just to make sure no one's a complete nutcase. and actually is a fan of Meghan. She probably does like a social media screening as well, just to make sure that you guys are actually a fan and not a hater. So I have got the pictures on my phone, but I'm trying to send them to my email. Hold on. No, I can do it. I can do it. I'm going to share them with you guys because it's a great kind of insight into how this is done. And it doesn't look, to be honest with you, it looks quite a cold setting. I personally, to me, it's like a business meeting rather than a
I
something
agree. I
it's
agree.
or a conference of some kind.
And they've
Right.
added that Dr. Justine, who is apparently some type of behavioral psychologist that's there. I don't know what they're going to touch on. What would be great is what if they took that gal, that Dr. Justine, and she psychoanalyzed Meghan in front of an audience? That would be fun. Can we do that?
Wow. It would be grand, wouldn't it?
Right.
That would be grand. I'm just downloading it now. Hold on.
Okay. And then while you do that, I'm going to look to see, because you know how it is. You have to constantly hit refresh on your browser because these news stories are just.
There's something every day, which is great. I can't keep up with it all, unfortunately. That is the problem.
I know. It can be a bit tiresome. I mean, there are days where I just have to say, this is going to be a Meghan-free day in my life right now. I'm not going to, there you go.
Yeah, she could be all consuming if you let that happen. So thank you for sharing these pictures with me. These are the pictures here.
That's so beige. It's beige and boring.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not something I would consider exciting anyway, especially for the amount of money that you're paying. It's all just looks very kind of formal, very cold. I've seen these business rooms 1,000 times in really kind of expensive hotels, and they're great for companies, aren't they? Talking whatever they need to kind of address. This is kind of the type of area I would expect Harry to have his speaking engagements, because this is kind of what it normally looks like if you're going to have an intimate speaking engagement, maybe a little bit bigger than that.
Right. But it just seems all put together, last minute, no real thought, no real effort. Like you said, you've seen the inside of rooms like this 100 times.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And maybe they'll jazz it up for when, the time comes. But again, I mean, I don't know. I think they're probably just trying to make as much profit as possible.
So I'm looking at something interesting here. I just pulled it up. Retreat highlights. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'll go for it. Yeah.
So it's called Her Best Life. We know that. And it starts on the 17th of April, running to the 19th of April. The weekend is designed for approximately 300 women and focuses on empowerment, connection, and personal growth. I had not seen that number. 300? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. 300. Yeah. So this is why the markup, I think, is on it, so high. But also, it does contradict, her kinds of talk about, putting such a high markup on it as well. Again, like her products are on as ever. It goes against, all of this advocacy for her and the grassroots causes. It's very contradicting. If you're going to be a grassroots advocate, what are you doing? You're doing, this is why I always say she's definitely, I think she has a personality disorder. Allegedly. I don't know. But it feels very erratic and very weird, because you're conflicting your kind of ideology consistently.
Well, also,
sorry, go on.
I was going to say, building on your point, this screams status. This screams intentional exclusivity. Isn't wellness something that should be available to everybody at a better price point?
Oh God.
Exactly what you just said. So you've got, it's 2,700 Australian, coming to about 1,900 US. I'm sorry. I mean, and that's not even the VIP package.
No, no. Thank
Oh,
you for working
wow.
out the math there, Stephen. That's very appreciative.
Yeah, that's
I've done that in
awesome.
my head. But yeah, that's insane. And I think she's just piggybacking off a bit of a, you know, a big money spinner there. And like you said, wellness
Yeah,
should be accessible to everybody. And
right.
I think doing something for the people rather than just to get cash in would have reflected better on her and, you know, her endeavors. But again, she's not thinking about how this looks. She's not, like you said, she's not in touch with reality. She's
Right.
completely out of there. Duchess Delulu at her finest.
I
Carry on
know
with
this.
that list. Sorry, I did interrupt you. I do apologize. When I get a
No.
thought, I have to say it for some reason. I've got some sort
Hmm.
of malfunction with my brain and mouth.
It happens to the best of us.
Oh, did you want to carry on with the points that you were saying? Sorry,
Oh,
you were reading something off and I interrupted
well,
you.
darling. Well, yeah.
Sorry,
So those
sweetie.
prices that I quoted you, those are just the early bird tickets. So we have the VIP package, and for $2,300 US, approximately 31.99 Australian, you're going to have front row seating at the dinner, a group table photo with her, premium ocean view room, an exclusive goodie bag. But they're failing to mention that you will be sharing a room. You'll have a twin bed, sharing a room with a stranger.
Oh my God, are you joking?
And I
No way,
believe
Jose.
And I
No.
believe all the reports are talking about how there's a majority of the hotel that is undergoing construction. They're not even sure if the poo, because I was thinking of those poo balls that are washing up on the beach. The pool, sorry. Some people are wondering, is the pool going to be fully operational for the guests by the time this little shindig goes
Oh
down?
my
What's going on?
God. It sounds like a holiday from hell.
But if
What
you
is
were
gonna
to ask her to defend herself, she would probably spin a yarn for you and say something to the effect of, well, I am wanting an intimate encounter. And this is why the pricing is the way it is. And this is why we're only, limiting it to 300 because we really want to be impactful. We really want to change. I mean, I can just see her saying all of this. We want to be impactful. We want to change lives. And you could really only do that in an intimate setting. And that's why we've designed this weekend. And you're like, uh-huh, sure. She could have had a wellness type of show. I just had this brilliant idea. This is how brilliant I am, Victoria. I just had this idea. She could have had a wellness show on Netflix.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
because she was kind of like a jack of all trades on her TIG, right? She
yeah.
was. She was about food. She was about fashion. She was about beauty. She would talk about all kinds of things. Why didn't you have a show where you would touch on different ways you could change your life? Here's an episode about movement, moving your body, exercise, getting in touch. Here's an episode about how to clean up your diet with easy, doable ways. This is how we're going to do it. We know you're busy. We know you're working. We know you got kids. But let's just start from the beginning. I'm just making up this crap off the top of my head as I go along. And she can't even figure this out.
You're completely right. And I think she hasn't used her platform and her title to her biggest advantage. She hasn't utilized all the opportunities that she could have taken. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of it comes down to the fact that she's just got lazy-itis. So she wants to do something that's really easy. For example, we've seen her crazy Christmas special, which about how to wrap something, which was, I mean, some of it was so basic. If you're going to do it, you need to have a little bit more flavor and spice within that to really capture your audience.
Yeah.
And she just didn't have that because there was no effort or research going into how
Now
to make
hold on a
wonderful.
minute.
Yeah,
Now hold on a minute, Victoria.
yeah,
She was talking to us about Christmas trees, and she was talking to us about ornaments and why ornaments are special.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know that before I watched that show. I'm really glad she clued us all into the importance of ornaments on a tree.
You know what?
I was doing it wrong this entire time.
It's good to have the balance of just having something very traditional and simple on there,
Yeah.
but also having, you know, the modern twist on Christmas, because actually as years evolve, we kind of all do our own different Christmas traditions and we kind of add stuff to it. You
Yeah.
know, we've started playing a lot more games, and you know, I didn't have that as a child. We didn't do all that. I've adapted Christmas for my children.
Yeah.
So but also it's just the little things like the decorations and the painting of the plates. We've seen Martha Stewart do all this. We've seen her give really good household tips.
Mhm.
You have to go a bit more above and beyond to make this a show-stopping event. And she couldn't be bothered to take some time out of her day just to craft and actually get into the zone. If you're going to craft, do it properly, you know?
You know what I did when I watched that damn thing? Because I reviewed it for my channel. My mom and I watched it together. And after we watched it, I thought, I remember watching Nigella Christmas specials. So I
Yeah.
went on YouTube, searched a bunch of them of yore, and watched them. And I was like, now this is Christmas. You know, I love Nigella.
Nigella's brilliant, and she basically sells food as like
Yeah.
sex, which is insane because she just makes everything sound like trying to turn you on with food, which
I
is
mean,
which
I'm
is great.
literally coming up with ideas as we're talking about this. If I had a Christmas special, I would ask someone to show me how to make like like a cocktail table, but make it so that you've got ingredients out for your guests so they can kind of do it themselves if they want, or maybe if they don't, like how to just something fun. Like let's make up some cool
Yeah,
Christmas cocktail festive things. Something
and
fun.
I'm sure she's got a team around her that can brainstorm ideas. You can do a mood board. You've got if you take on other people's experience, ideas, and knowledge, which I think she lacks, that, you know, being capable of doing that. I don't think she does take on other people's ideas. I think she's very much tunnel visioned and
Mm,
thinks her way is the best, and it's the, you know, the
yeah,
high, that way or the highway. But you have to take constructive criticism firstly, and you
right.
have to be open-minded in this business. You have to acknowledge your weak points
Mhm.
and grow on your strong points, and use the facilities and the people around you to help build you up, because that's what they're there for. You're
Right.
paying the team, so at least get your money's worth. So it is bizarre that she decided, you know, not to take kind of any kind of help or strategic planning
I know.
with any of her endeavors so far. um
Oh, did you see that comment from Alice? She was saying, I've even reached out to the city of Sydney to confirm the certificate of occupancy for Soho House, not believing their.
okay,
So,
okay.
yeah, there's been grumblings that I guess Marcus wants her to help him with a Soho House opening out there while she's there. So that is another motive for the trip, you see. And
Okay.
apparently they're wanting to branch out with As Ever in Australia. They've applied for a few, I don't know if it's patents or trademarks there, different things that people are going out and looking in behind the scenes as to what's going on. So it's not just this wellness retreat, it's also helping out Marcus, trying to expand the jam and jelly empire, sorry, the spread empire, you know, because let's call it what it is. A spread's a spread.
I mean, a spread is a spread, and I've got some more information on their pricing. I mean, it is insane. Putting flowers in the boxes. Oh my god,
Oh, I know.
they'll be dead already by the time they get there, because you're
Never
shipping
mind
for
dead. They'll be
days.
smashed and just, oh, yeah. I saw that and I said, you know, that is such a, I mean, now say if you walked into your local florist and they made you a beautiful box that you could take with you, holding to the person you're giving it to, that's one thing. But to close it up, box it up, ship it, like it's going to be a mess when it gets there, an absolute mess.
It's going to be an absolute mess. I totally agree, and I just think she's absolutely batshit bonkers. Jane says, "Do you think has a thing for Marcus?" Actually, Jane, you could be right, because she seems to have this kind of pull to him, doesn't she? Is constantly having this contact with Marcus.
But isn't he gay? I heard he's gay, right?
Is he gay? The gay best friends.
Yeah.
Marcus is gay.
See?
Well, she definitely has a strong connection with Marcus because she keeps using him as kind of the fallback guy for when things go wrong. I think it was him initially she reached out to get this job out in Australia because she's desperate for some money, and he's kind of her go-to guy when she needs a pick-me-up, so to speak. So she's definitely got a session with him. She might fancy him. I mean, it does happen. You never know.
Yeah, I think it's two things personally. I think it's he knows a lot. She knows a lot, but he knows probably a lot more about her from the early days. And he still probably is fairly well connected, and she doesn't want to lose that because we know how she discards people when she feels that she's gotten everything she needs out of them. So she still, I think she probably still feels like she has something she stands to gain by keeping him around. And also he knows a lot about her and her past. That's my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, there is a lot to do with that because the part you keep your enemies close, so to speak, because this is all from the yachting days with him as well. So there's a lot of connection there. Soho House has a reputation for its seedy behaviour and and girls being used for their flesh, really, which is is a long-standing kind of that's their long-standing reputation. Yes, exactly. So you could be right there. And like you said, so Alice is quite an investigator. Alice loves an investigation.
I love it.
She's great. And she emails me a lot. I love her so much. I have looked into all of the permitting where Soho House is. End of March 2026. They are close to completion. I sent an email to City of Sydney Permitting. Let's see if they respond. Yeah. Also, Alice has her own channel now, so if you guys want to go and follow Alice,
awesome! Good for Alice.
And don't forget to follow Jennifer as well because she's an absolute doll. Stephen, thank you 7 times as ever. Thank you for the £5. Trademarks granted on Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and UK. All the trademarks items are identical to her trademarks in America.
But she cannot merchandise clothing under that name because it's already taken.
Oh, okay.
She's got stuff for everything, but not for clothing. Now, you would think that is such a wasted opportunity, but again, someone on her team or Meghan herself didn't do their due diligence. Because remember, that was that whole little mini scandal when she first went on Instagram and said, it's not American Riviera Orchard anymore. It's As Ever. And it's always been like that. And then come to find out there's As Ever NYC, a company that was quite upset at the time because that's their name, their clothing line.
You think you should do her homework first. A lot of this tells me that she comes up with this batshit crazy stuff because if you've got a team, they would find out if that name is usable or not. That's kind of what they're there for. And yeah, it's embarrassing for her. I think it's all very rushed.
If she has a team, she needs to stop paying them because she doesn't listen to anybody.
Yeah, no, she doesn't listen to anybody. She's not interested in anyone else's opinion, and this is why she comes across as out of touch and completely delusional. And we're having issues now. I mean, with this because I feel like her persistence in the pursuit of being famous and adored is going to be very damaging eventually to that of the royal family.
It's very scary. I just did a video on that when I was talking about her on the red carpet with her girlfriend that won that award last week, where she was massaging the belly and draped all over her friend. And I was talking about that in the video, and I was saying, I really fear for her. I think Meghan has a fear of not being recognized and seen. For some reason, she doesn't feel seen and she doesn't feel recognized. And this is what her main driver is. It's not even so much the money, because she could go away quietly, live a very comfortable life and not worry for anything ever. But it's not about the money. It's about the fame, and it's about being noticed and being acknowledged. She has that in her, and it's really scary thing, because when you get people that are that focused on wanting to be seen and wanting to be recognized and me, you get into some really dangerous territory, because people like that, I think, will do anything they can to stay relevant. And she's proved that.
Yeah, no, you're right. And actually, you've just triggered something in me, which I
What?
saw a long time ago. Something good, it's fine.
I was getting scared.
Nothing triggering, but
Yeah.
you've just given me an insight into the mind of an actress. Now, there is a whole kind of perception as to why people become actresses and why they do that certain job, and apparently it's not sitting comfortably with your own self. So there's this external locus that you have to portray all the time. And she's, as an actor, sometimes they're not really sure of who they actually are. And I think she comes across as that, because it feels very forced when you see her on the on that carpet with her friend, being draped all over her again, touching her everywhere, and just making all the attention on her. It's almost as she can't help herself but put herself in that situation. And it is to get attention and to have the spotlight on her solely, and that is the issue. I think she, as coming from the actress land, so to speak, acting land, she doesn't really know who she is, because she's only ever worked as playing a different character. And do you think possibly she's playing a different character now?
I've always thought that there's a difference, obviously, between, say, for example, a Meryl Streep or a Kate Blanchett and a Meghan. The former, they're able to absolutely completely lose themselves in a character. And in some way, you do have to drop, I guess, your own personal ego. People like Meghan, in my opinion, they're so wooden is because she can't step outside of herself, because she's constantly got the guard up, see me, love me, here I am. She can't let go of that for even a moment in order to portray authenticity and kind of slide into a character the way that a Meryl can, the way a Johnny Depp or a Gary Oldman can. I mean, those people really are chameleons. You could see Gary Oldman in one role and then he's someone completely different.
Yeah.
But she essentially was playing herself on that show. She's never really stepped outside of her own persona, I think, because she just isn't comfortable with herself. She needs that constant adulation. She needs to be built up constantly. For her, why give to a charity? Why visit a children's wing if it's not going to be photographed, if it's not going to be broadcast around the world? For her, it's all about being seen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and I didn't really take into the factor that she's playing more of herself in that role.
Yeah.
I get what you mean, but
totally.
and I get what you're saying, but I do think everything she does is over exaggerated and forced. It's very kind of cheesy and greatly cheesy. Yeah, exactly. I've kept you for longer than an hour, and I only said I'd keep you for an hour, so I'm going to let you go.
This is so
I'm going to release
juicy.
you. I'm going to release you back into the wild, Jennifer.
Oh, Lord help me.
You're an absolute legend. I love having you on. It's been a great discussion. Please subscribe to Jennifer's YouTube because she's great. She's got some great videos. If you love her, subscribe. Lizzie, you're an absolute doll. I love your you putting all this in the side chat for me. You do a lot of the hard work, and I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. It's always fun to be here. Always fun.
We should do another live next week or the week after.
I'm going to be traveling, remember?
Oh, yes, I forgot.
Yeah.
Yes. When you're ready, let's go. Let's do this again because it was wonderful. I'm back tomorrow, guys, in the evening, live with Paula, and I've got a video hopefully coming out tomorrow. I've just got to, you know, crack on with the editing.
I have to reschedule with Paula. I was supposed to record with her on Monday and I could not get my laptop to cooperate. So
no, she's pretty flexible, which is good.
She is.
She's pretty good. So thank you again. Have a lovely evening. God
Thank you, my
bless
love.
all. Thank you for being in the side chat. Thank you all for my thank you guys. Honesty and truth. And Stephen for the super stickers. Thank you so much.
Yes.
God bless and good night, everybody. Take care. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye.